Hello and welcome to the Circle of Love and Light. This is a very special day today. We've been missing Gretchen. She's been away for a little while. So I want to welcome you and also welcome Gretchen back. I'm your host, Dr. Jane Mountrose. Gretchen is my friend, a fellow spiritual healer and energy healer, many things. and a wonderful partner, I think. I feel, and I've felt it more since Gretchen was away. Just such a wonderful partner on this journey that we have in the circle.
Thank you.
So this week we're going to be exploring the mystical blessings that emerge when we enlist the support of the universe. And to begin, we'll discuss what this means. For one thing, I was thinking about it this morning. I thought, well, gee, maybe people don't even know what we're talking about. What do you mean by support of the universe? So we're going to talk about that and what to do if this kind of support feels like an impossible dream and more. So we have, I think, an action-packed hour ahead of us. We're going to also enlist one of the most amazing cosmic archangels to assist us in this. I think we've all been there when our possibilities feel limited at a time when we most need to have something wonderful happen in our lives, and at least to have a sign that we're not alone, because sometimes it just feels like, well, I'm here and I'm surrounded by people, but I'm in the wilderness anyhow. With As we learn how to connect with the universe and receive support from the universe, I think we see that there is so much hope. And we're going to actually take a journey in the meditation to see where that takes us as well. So who knows? It's that old question. Who knows what might be possible? I think one of the most powerful questions out there. So before we start, as usual, I want to thank you for being here, being sources of love and light for the world. It is a blessing to the world. And I think most of us don't realize how important that is, but we want to thank you for being part of it. I also want to take a moment just to breathe and to bring our energy together in this beautiful circle. So if you can close your eyes safely where you are, just breathing in love and light from the universe around you. And as you exhale, releasing, can just have with your intention, releasing any energy that is not your own, any energy that isn't serving you right now. Breathing in love, and then releasing anything that isn't love, really. Just a few breaths like this, any time of the day, can make a big difference. Okay, that feels good, as always. So with that, I want to again welcome you, Gretchen, and ask you to start us out by sharing a little bit about your perspective on this topic.
Sure. Thank you, Jane. Yeah, I think for me, this is such an important topic too, because I think a lot of times we may not be aware that we can enlist support from the universe. And for me, I really feel like it is a kind of a daily practice of living in the present moment for me. If I feel like, if I'm being challenged or I'm having a lot of opportunities and a lot of choices and decisions that need to be made, I feel like if I can come back to that present moment and just tune in right there, I'm actually enlisting the support of the universe, because I'm taking that conscious break to just connect intuitively to my own guidance, to my higher self, and then to higher sources. And for me, taking that pause, I think, throughout the day is important. And I think probably the hardest thing is to remind yourself to take that little pause to tune in, especially if you're in a lot of momentum throughout your day. But it really helps me kind of drop out of negative thinking. It helps me drop out of thinking everything is black and white or polarized. And so when I'm enlisting support, I'm just just inviting in my guides. I'm inviting in angels just to help lighten the load a little bit. It's like, trusting them to help us and guide us to lighten the load a little bit when we're challenged. But if I can take that pause and really spend moments just coming back to my breath and coming back to the present moment, that's what really helps me kind of make that connection, make that soul connection with my guides and that higher source. And that's where the trust develops. It's like a relationship, or it's like a muscle we have to practice, with. It's like
Oh,
anytime
right.
we're building
Yeah.
a muscle, and for years, I think I lived my life where maybe I didn't trust the universe, or maybe I wasn't consciously seeking trusting the universe or seeking a relationship. And now I know it's just so powerful for me, and it's so helpful and so healing and so loving, that I think it's just important to really help everybody understand, especially today in this wonderful discussion, that that it's accessible to them too. If it's accessible to me,
Right.
it's accessible to them too. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's such a broad topic, but for me, it is about coming back to that pause and in that in the moment, and just making a connection there. It doesn't have to be formal, doesn't have to be elaborate. It can just come
Right.
from the heart.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that, I think, when you say coming into the moment, I think you are talking about just coming coming back, almost, I think, what we did at the beginning, just taking a few nice breaths and breathing in love. Love is energetically, love is connectedness. A divine love is connectedness. So what you're doing is you're bringing yourself back to that place of connectedness, which is,
Right,
it is very nurturing, if nothing else,
right.
nurturing for the body, mind, and spirit, as you might say. Um, I do want to mention what we're talking about when we're talking about the universe, for anybody where this might be new. Um, I found a nice quote on the internet. They can find anything on the internet these days. The universe operates on cosmic energy. Cosmic energy is another name for life force energy, which I think, if you boil that down to its essence, it is really source energy, you could say. Cosmic energy and our source, God, is ever present and has an impact on each and every particle in the whole universe. It is the energy flowing throughout everything. The entire universe operates on a dynamic force called cosmic energy. I thought that was really beautiful. And it is really, I think, I was talking with Philip about it, my husband, this morning, and we were talking about what universal energy is to us. And to me, it is a substitute, you could say, in my thinking, for saying God. So if we recognize, if we're enlisting the support of the universe, we're probably enlisting the support of our creator. And of course, actually, when you come down to it, our creator is right here within us too. We all have that spark of the divine in us. So we're never separated from it energetically, but we do have the illusion of separation, which is what fools us, because we believe that if we think we're separated, we actually are, but that's not true. And I think that's so interesting.
Right. And I think that's where a lot of our pain and suffering come from too, is from buying into that illusion and feeling that disconnection. And we're never truly disconnected. And we do feel it as humans, we feel it as humans. We feel that disconnection at different points in our life, and that's okay.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think it is really about reconnecting what's been disconnected, by
Right.
just inviting in the energy of an angel or an ascended master or our spirit guides or source itself. I think it's just so simple. It's a
It
beautiful,
is.
simple
Yeah.
process. Yeah.
Right. I think probably you have too. I call a lot of times on the angels to bring positive light and, and support to us. We'll be doing that today. And recently we also have been, Philip and I have been just calling on whatever it is we want. Like, if you want to have bliss, just ask ask the universe to send some bliss. We can do that right now and just feel if anything happens in your body when you ask for bliss. I can feel it.
Yeah, I immediately felt it
Yeah.
around my heart. It felt
Mhm.
like my heart, the energy around my heart was expanding out. So yeah, that
Mhm.
was beautiful. That's
Right.
so simple.
And I can feel it like I feel like my cells are tingling. My body, I can feel that more life energy in my body. Um, it is, essentially, we're talking about vibration.
Mhm.
So we're going to be in sync with whatever vibration we're we're connected with. And I woke up this morning, there wasn't anything really wrong, but I could tell my energy was just not in a real positive place. Like I was kind of complaining a little bit in my head and thinking, and then I thought, well, I'm just going to call on the energy. I call it radiance, and we'll connect with that energy too today. It's like kind of like bliss, but a little different. So I just asked for the universe to send radiance, and I could immediately feel it, and it really it I I think I felt it, and then I went on. I was making breakfast and getting ready for the day. I went upstairs, and as I was getting dressed, I realized, well, gosh, I really am feeling good. And it was just that one little intention that did it for me.
Right.
We each of us has something that's called a set point vibrationally. So we have a place that we gravitate to because that's where we usually are. And it could be anywhere between divine love and, the deepest depths of fear and anger and all of those things. And we tend to go, it's like a boomerang. We boomerang back to that set point unless we're aware. And this is where conscious awareness and intent becomes so important, because we have to consciously intend to lift our vibration. And this also relates directly to our ability to manifest to a place that is in harmony with what we want to create. But it doesn't, like you were saying, it doesn't have to be hard. We do have to be awake a little bit to remember. I think that's the main thing.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I was, when you were saying that, I was thinking about how much I think my set point has changed over the years because
Mm-hmm.
I'm no longer resonating with that lower vibration. I was somebody that saw the glasses half full pretty much all of my life. So I've been an optimist, I think, most of my life. But at different times, I may have tried to be matching someone else's vibration that I was with, or some other place of where you feel comfortable. But I think as our awareness grows spiritually, I think, and we're opening up more to the light in the universe, the light of source, more to the love in our heart, and more to the love that's accessible, that set point does change, and
Right.
I think,
Yeah.
and you don't want to go back to that older set
No.
point. And part of that really is to circle back around to our topic, really is about trusting the universe, eliciting trust and support from the universe has helped me
Mm-hmm.
change my set point, essentially, with that, by not only feeling capable and worthy of it, but also knowing that it's accessible to me at any time. So
Right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh, Going back to that connection, also being accessible at any time. If we actually, when we're thinking about connecting with the universe, we are thinking about accessing a relationship with God. I've noticed just teaching that it's not uncommon for people to feel that God has abandoned them. And that can be especially true in times of difficulty or times when things happen that seem unfair or just completely unexpectedly bad or whatever, however we want to define it. And I think if that is happening, and I mention it because we need to confront that. the idea that God has abandoned us, if that's what's happening. Because it's not true. Again, that's the illusion. We think, well, this wouldn't have happened if God loved me. And that also is a reflection of our perspective on ourselves as victims. If we feel that something happened because God doesn't love us, then we see ourselves as a victim. And we all have that happen sometimes. And sometimes children really are often victims. With little control, they can be abused, they can be ignored. There are so many things that can happen to a child, and they have no way of dealing with it. And then we carry that through to adulthood and lifetime after lifetime, etc. So there is, I think, also there are times when healing is really needed, which goes beyond the scope of what we're able to do here. But we are here, I think, in the circle. Part of one of our main missions is to raise our set point.
Yeah.
And we do some healing.
Right. I completely agree. It really becomes it becomes a gift to us to be able to have that awareness, and to well, it's ultimately we're surrendering, we're surrendering
Yes,
to
true.
life.
We
We're
have to.
surrendering to what is. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And a lot of that is, it's not that when we're surrendering, I want to be clear, we're not letting go who we are at the core of ourselves. What we're giving up is really that illusion that we're disconnected, or that illusion that life is conspiring against us, or the universe is conspiring against us. It's really not true, and it is, and it's really easy to fall into that, especially when we're younger and less experienced with life. I think that's a thing that a lot of teenagers and young adults fall into easily and need help and support with. But also, the rest of us too, who are going through life challenges and life changes. It really is a trust that comes through surrendering to what's happening.
Right. And that isn't, we're not saying it's easy either.
Right.
Because there are times when things happen that are sad to us, things happen that are debilitating to us, possibly physically. There are many things that can happen.
Sure.
And if we believe that it's happening to us, that we're victims of a mean God or something, I think that's where we need to explore what the truth is, because that's where it becomes dangerous. None of us is lacking that spark of the divine. We all have that. We have the creator within us.
Right.
And we have to really look deeply within sometimes to see it. But it also then, again, as we're talking about it, it is something that part of us that observes, that some people call it the observing eye, meaning I as in the letter I. The part of us that can observe that is the soul that emerges in that connection with love and the heart. So when we make that connection, then we have access to resources that we don't otherwise have. The part of us that feel like victims, they're often wounded. You could call them subpersonalities. They are parts of the self that have become disconnected from our wholeness. And that part that's out there disconnected from the truth of who we are is never, in that perspective, going to understand the truth. We can bring that part back into our wholeness through healing, which is an important part of, I think, the healing process for us.
Right.
And our resource is the soul. It is that love we hold in our heart.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's interesting too, because when we're enlisting support from the universe, when we are trusting the universe and surrendering, it's such an amazing sense of calm, because the world is going to go on with or without us. The planets are going to spin, the universe is going to make its motion, the stars are going to be born, life is going on around us, whether or not we're holding tight to that control or not. And so surrendering really is creating that relationship with trusting the universe and trusting our guides to, I mean, thank goodness somebody else is making planets spin, because I don't think I could keep up with that. That's there's
No,
so
we don't
much
have to do that.
we don't have to do that, and so that's a gift to us to not have to worry about all of those things that are happening continuously. And that letting go and that surrender, there's a lot of beauty and calm in that. There's a lot of relief and freedom in that.
Right.
Especially when we're enlisting support from the universe. I keep saying eliciting, because I feel like by getting that help, by getting that support, we don't have to do it alone. We can have help. It's okay to ask for help. And I know for years, for me, it was a sign of independence if you didn't have to ask for help. But now I'm at a place where I feel like that happens to a lot of us. We fall into that trap where we don't feel like we need to. We don't have to ask for help in order to get where we're going, but we usually do. And it's okay, to have that help.
Right.
Ask
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. And you started that part talking about stillness, having when your mind is still. And it reminded me of a quote I found actually this morning, which I thought was really beautiful. To a mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah.
And it is, we surrender to it too. I wanted to make the distinction also between, this is something Richard Bartlett talks about. He's the one with, he does healing work, matrix energetics, he calls it.
Yes.
Anyhow, he makes a distinction. We think that we need to be in control. We are not in control. That we can't control all the events of our lives or what's going to happen to us. We can be in command of ourselves and place ourselves in the position where we can be creating from the highest possible vibration, and then being able to interpret the events that happen to us from the soul's perspective.
Right.
And I think, to me, that's what surrender is. It's realizing we're not in control. We're surrendering to the divine plan, really, for our lives. But we are taking command of ourselves and our perspective.
Right. And I think by asking for help from the universe really is kind of it's an evolutionary step that we're taking. We're saying, we want to work in conjunction with you. We're not asking the universe to do the work for us. We're asking to build a relationship with the universe and to develop that trust. So I feel like that's really important to do. Even if we do that once a day, it's still helping to build that relationship, with the trust and with the support that's available to us.
Right. And we have with the angels, the archangels, the ascended masters, all these different enlightened beings from the cosmos who are actually taking an interest in our planet right now. We have beings who are here to support us, to energetically, to provide guidance, to support us in healing, to teach us new things, new ways of looking at things. So we're not alone. And I think that's another part. Like I'm surrounded by people, but I feel like I'm all alone. That's so common. And I think it's particularly common for people like us, light workers, healers, way showers, where most of us are essentially different from the average human being. And it's very easy to feel like, well, gee, I don't know how I got here, but this this isn't really feeling like the right place for me. When actually we wouldn't be here if our souls weren't volunteering. Our souls could withdraw in any moment they want to.
Right.
They're here. We're here because there's a reason for us to be here. And we have also creating support of a spiritual community of people and other beings, cats and dogs and whatever. That is a big help too. Like Gretchen, Gretchen and I have the opportunity here and in other areas to communicate and to support each other, and we learn from. I always feel like I learn from something from the circle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've been doing this kind of work for more than 3 decades now, and you've been not quite as much as me, probably.
Right.
You're not quite as old, but you've been around for many decades too. And I think we still have to, when we surrender our egos, we realize, well, there's always something more to learn, and that we can understand the same things in deeper ways, which
Right.
to me is so amazing and wonderful. Really, it's like, I thought I understood this, and now I understand it so much more. I didn't know there was more.
Right. Right. It's to me, it's like at one point I must have taken out the earplugs because now I hear it a lot clearer.
Right.
It's like the support is always there, but we need to tune into it. We need to invite it into our lives. We need to ask for it. We need to
Right.
let our, we need to let our guides and our all of the beings of light that are helping us know what it is we need. It's not, we can't wait for them to choose something that's for the best of us, or that's for good for us. We need to make
Right.
those choices, so that's really helpful to understand that. And yeah, it becomes,
it's an important point too. Because the archangels and ascended masters, the beings who, the most elevated ones, they don't just come to us and support us.
right.
We have to initiate that. They might show up, because I've had some show up. In fact, the one we're going to introduce today showed up in my life uncalled for, but I didn't know about him either. so they
Right.
may come and introduce themselves and say, Jane, I could help you if you want to talk to me. Which is what happened with me also with Metatron too. He said, Jane, I want to talk to you. And they might offer something, but if we're not responding, and if we're not actually acting on, if they're giving us guidance and we never act on it, we're not going to receive as much as we potentially could. So it's a dance. I see David Brown is here. Welcome, David. He says, let go and let God. That's easy. Makes it easy. And something like that, just having the ability to tell yourself something like that at times when, well, gee, I'm feeling tense. I'm feeling like I need to be doing something. Let go and let God, just chill, relax, open your heart. Everything's going to come out really wonderfully well. And I did want to talk a little bit, probably after the meditation or maybe partly during the meditation, about, and we can share just thoughts on things that we can do, like recognizing that life is happening for us, not to us. It's a victim mentality, is life is happening to me, poor me, and a creator mentality is life is happening for me. And I take whatever it is that's happening as a challenge, because we are being challenged so that we'll grow.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
it just makes sense that would happen. It has to happen.
Right.
If you think about it, it would get pretty boring if nothing ever happened. Just kind of like, oh, another day.
Yeah. That's not very exciting.
Right. Like that movie Groundhog Day. It's like,
Right.
well, I'm here again. But then he actually did then start growing.
Right.
And life moved on. But he went from being a victim to a creator.
Right. Right. It's like when I'll do my oracle cards and I keep choosing the same card. Clearly I'm not paying attention to something. I'm like, how does that happen? And the next day I'll choose that same card again. Okay, clearly I'm not
Kind of
getting
like,
something.
maybe my cards are bent and it's just the only one that's coming up, but it doesn't come up for anybody else.
Yeah, and then I start thinking maybe I should pay attention to this message. So yeah,
Right.
there are no new messages because this is the message,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is, if we can look at life as a kind of a mystical mystery, a magical mystery tour. I think we got that somewhere. It makes it much more interesting. And you think, well, gosh, this is interesting that this is happening.
Right, right. Yeah, absolutely.
So we ready for the meditation?
Yeah, that'd be lovely. I've got my
Okay.
selenite with me. I'm holding my selenite heart.
Oh, good idea. I'll get mine too. If anybody doesn't know, selenite is really a wonderful, very wonderful stone. It absorbs discordant energy, and it has a very high vibration. So if you hold on to it, it tends to lift your spirits. And I have pieces of selenite all over the place just to raise the vibration. I put them on my oracle cards and my jewelry and all over the place. I can see 4 or 5 pieces of it from just where I'm sitting here now. In addition to this one, these hearts are really, I love these especially. And these are, I think I got mine on Amazon. Did you get yours on Amazon?
I actually got it at the little bookstore where I work.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. David is asking, what's the name of the stone? It's selenite, Selinite, I think.
Selenite as Selenite.
Selenite. Yeah, selenite.
Yeah.
Okay, selenite.
I believe it's called that because of Selena, the Greek goddess of the moon, because it kind of looks like a luminous moonstone. So it's quite beautiful. It's a very soft stone too. You have to be a little careful with it. It can scratch and
Right. It also is, it's a form of sodium, and it will melt. If you put it in water, it will melt.
right.
One of our students told me one time she had a large dog who got a hold of her selenite heart and was licking it because it's salt. I guess the dog really liked it and kind of destroyed the the beauty of it. So you do have to be careful with it. You can't sit it out in the sun or in the rain.
Don't leave it in
the rain.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Right. Anyhow, so for the meditation, the archangel we're going to invite in is Archangel Orion. It's Orion, like the name Orion, the stars. He's named actually after Orion's belt, which is the 3 brightest stars in the universe. I think that's interesting. And so we're going to go up into the stars to meet with Archangel Orion and just notice what that experience is like. One part of it is that we're going to rise above what I'll call the atmosphere. And when I'm speaking of atmosphere, I'm speaking, there is, you could say, the atmosphere, physical atmosphere of planet Earth, also of the rising above the energy of the mass consciousness. Because we're bathed in all of this hatred and fear and anger that we see on the news all the time. It's all around us. So we have to, it requires some effort. It's not like we're just surrounded by all this love and light all the time. So we don't have to make any effort to be there, that we would just gravitate to that because it's around us. That's not what's happening. And so the intention of rising above the atmosphere is to be above all of that. In that place, it reminds me of that Zen quote again, with it takes us to a place of stillness where everything is in just a beautiful place that it might be something you've never experienced before. This is where I've experienced probably the highest states I've ever experienced by going to this place. So here we go. And we'll start, as always, by closing our eyes. And like we did in the beginning, breathing in love and light from the universe. And as we exhale, releasing anything that we don't need right now, anything that isn't love that we're ready to release. We can send that light and love into any place in the body where we might notice some tension, allowing that to release. And what we're doing now is we're raising our vibration. We're going to meet Archangel Orion part way. So we're releasing anything that feels heavy. And as we do that, we can ask for any energy that's not our own, that is in our energetic space, which includes that ball of light around us and our bodies. Just ask any energy that's not your own, energy you might have picked up from other people, other places, other times. Just lovingly send it back where it came from. Which should create more space for that love and light that you're breathing in. And allowing your field to expand out a little more. One of the wonderful things in a place like this is that we're free to expand. We don't have to contract ourselves to fit in because we're here to be free. That's why we're here in the circle. Similarly, we leave bits of ourselves with other people in other times and other places. So the next thing is to ask for any energy that you've left around the universe, to bring any energy you can back to now into the wholeness of yourself. And as we do these things, you might notice that you feel more centered in the moment. And then opening to that love in your heart. And right in that center of your chest, the thymus gland is there, which is the seat of our aliveness and the heart chakra. So as we breathe more of that love and light into that area, we open more to the soul's energy. And as we do that, you can imagine the love from your soul radiating out from your heart, filling your whole body with love. And then allowing it to radiate out further all around you, filling all of the layers of your energy filled with love, and expanding even more. And from there, we can invite Archangel Orion to join us. We're going to take a journey up into the atmosphere or through the atmosphere. So as I mentioned, as we invite Archangel Orion in, can do that personally. He can be with you personally and each of us personally. Just notice what you sense energetically. He's a being of tremendous love and light, and people often perceive him as starlight. Beautiful blue, rich starlight, which we'll be traveling up to. You might even, as you connect with that, you might feel yourself starting to float up from the ground. And he's here to help us to understand our true identities as creators, as beings with that spark of the creator in our hearts, as divine beings. And to open to that bigger, that universal or cosmic picture of what's happening here. So we can just allow Archangel Orion, and you might invite also Archangel Michael, our protector, to join us, and your own spirit guides, whoever you want to invite. And just allow yourself to drift up past the highest mountains into the air. And then we're just going to poke through above the atmosphere of Earth into the universe. So as you look around yourself, being above the atmosphere, there are magnificent stars all around. It's very quiet and peaceful. You can sense the atmosphere, but it is complete freedom there. So you can just allow that freedom, that light, the love again to permeate more into your being with the help of Archangel Orion. And just ask him to bless you with the highest frequency of energy that's available to you right now. And with it as necessary, maybe clearing away some debris. Little bits of darkness that might be hidden in the shadows of our being. And just feel that. Feel what this state is for you. Is it joy? Is it love? Is it bliss? For me, this is where I experience that state I call radiance, which is just complete freedom, where everything is just light radiating around. And Archangel Orion is also known by many to be the Archangel of manifestation. He's compared sometimes to the genie. Your wish is my command. Although he's a little different as a genie because he wants us to understand why we want what we want, so that we know that the things we want are in harmony with our soul's purpose, our soul's reason for being alive. And one way of doing that is to allow yourself to connect with the essence of what you want. As an example, people from our experience working with many people over the decades, when people want to have money, one of the most common reasons, there's security, which is fine. The most common reason above that, a kind of a higher level need that is wanting to be fulfilled, is freedom. So we can say, if you want freedom, if you want joy, if you want love, you want connectedness, whatever it is, how would you define the state, not the things, but the state that you want to experience? The purity of it. And for it to be manifested, of course, it needs to have energy. So excitement and joy, those kinds of things, the thrill of being on your path, however you want to describe it, that's part of it, is having something that brings energy to your manifestations. And here, enlisting the support of the universe, we want to do it with something like this in mind. And from there, you can say, well, okay, so to experience this state, what is in harmony with it for me that is maybe part of my life plan and purpose? What might that be? I can sense those who are in the circle now or in in the future through time and space, that there's a beautiful energy radiating from us as we understand more deeply what we can do with the support of the universe and what we really want, what your heart and soul want, what's going to bring more love, more joy, more freedom, more peace, more harmony, more creativity, more of an opportunity to express yourself, opportunity to make a difference. Just feel that in yourself. Just feel it all the way down to your bones in the cells of your body. Because if you can connect with what that is and vibrate that, that's what makes it real. That's what brings our dreams into form. And if you want to help people, as many people, many of the people we connect with as we do, if you want to help people, there are people out there. If your soul is drawn to that, there are people waiting. And you can start to welcome them in. Freely recognizing the beauty in that connection that you have and will have with them. The difference that you'll make in each other's lives. And Archangel Orion says, we welcome all of you to connect with us in this place because this is an appropriate place, in that place of freedom in the stars. We welcome you to call on us anytime to support you in the realization of your soul's deepest desires. Archangel Orion and so many other beautiful beings of light are here for us if we're here for them. Archangel Orion also thanks us for bringing more love and light to the world, because that's what is needed most on our planet right now. That's why he came, actually. He just recently appeared for humanity. So Gretchen, anything you'd like to share?
I was struck by the sense of peace and calm once we got out beyond the boundary of planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Once I was out into kind of this starry void, and
Mm-hmm.
I felt a weightlessness that just is such a profound sense of peace and calm.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw myself kind of sitting at the edge of a pool of water that was very calm on the surface. And it just reminded me that, you know, the things that we want in life can come to us in the time frame that we want them to. I mean, that's an odd thing to say. It's almost conceptual. It's like there's no rush. We need to just embrace that stillness and calm in order to just kind of stay grounded in what it is we truly want. And one of the things that I was asking Orion is to just help me get clear on what it is I truly want in my life right now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we have the ability to do that too. I feel we can ask things to slow down a little bit. You know, if the universe is providing so much for us really in a fast way, we can say, slow down a little bit. You know, we're allowed to say, slow down, and go back to that place of calm. And for me, that's very important in my life right now, just to have that sense of serenity and calm, which will continue to help me trust the universe and ask for help from my guides. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, it felt like a very personal experience of coming back to that place of stillness and calm. There's so much going on the planet right now that I could get sucked into and go 20 different ways.
They're trying very hard.
Right. But to be able to leave the confines of that and kind of go through a boundary where on the other side of it is that peace and calm, it's just such a good reminder for me that that too is accessible. And when I ask for things and ask for help from the universe, it doesn't always have to be for movement and things to always be in motion, but there can also be a request to just calm down, you know, a little bit, and to just come to that place of stillness. And I'm struck by how profoundly loving Orion's energy is.
Yes.
And just it felt like, okay, whatever you need, you know, very lighthearted like that. And really just leaving it up to us what it is that we need for our life right now, and reminding me that it's okay to say, I don't know what I want right now. And just asking for clarity, and Orion saying, I can help with that too. You know, you just need to ask if that's what you need right now, is just clarity on what you need. That's fine too. So.
Right. Yeah.
felt very reassuring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think in terms of, I was talking about earlier, the perspectives that are healthy for us. One of them is just to be focused primarily on your next step. Like I know, well, I'm pretty deeply engaged in the work that I've been doing for many decades already, and it's moving forward. And I still want to know my next step, and you can just ask with that general picture in mind, or even just the general idea. I want freedom and joy, and I want to make a difference, whatever, however you define it. What is my next step? Because I know when Philip and I, my husband and I, first started the healing work, we hadn't planned on that at all. We left our jobs and wanted to create something that was really in harmony with who we were and something that would be joyful for us. And that's what showed up because we just took one step at a time, which started actually with healing ourselves. Not that it was a complete thing, but it started with that focus and just led us one step at a time to where we are now. And I just feel so blessed by it. So it doesn't have to be that's part of it's back in the mass consciousness, the human thought forms, that we feel like we need to have a perfect plan with no errors in it, no deviations. We need to have this perfect 5-year plan or whatever before we can start. All you need is your next step. And that feels freeing too. I think that's what you were saying, weren't you, Gretchen?
Right.
You
Right.
don't need to see the whole picture right now.
Right. We don't always have to know exactly where we're going in every single moment of life.
Right. We can't.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Anyhow,
part of the trust. Yeah. That's
right.
part of trusting.
Right. And that idea of surrendering to the universe. I surrender to my soul's plan. What's next? What's for me now? And just continue on. And so for us now, what's next is coming back to our normal waking states. But we're going to also remember that we can return to this place anytime. And the state, whatever that state, however you describe the state that you experienced in this place of freedom. So we can just start imagining drifting back down, and we can still hold to that state in spite of all the turmoil that may be around us. Just come and get back peacefully, beautifully, joyfully into our seats. Feeling your feet firmly on the ground. At this point, I like to send love to Mother Earth, who sends love back and helps to ground me. Just asking for grounding. Kind of, I feel like a spaceship that has just landed. It's like, put down the feet. And then breathing in more active energy, the right kind of energy for your normal waking state. Breathing in that active energy and I'd like to thank Archangel Orion for being here so beautifully for us. And Archangel Michael and all the other, there are many, many angels around us, I know. And masters who are here also available to teach us. So breathing in more of that active energy. You might want to stretch out a little, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. That's what I call radiance. That's what I experience anyhow. It just
Beautiful. Yeah, it was a really beautiful energy and so reaffirming,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. I'm looking at, I have these notes on self-realization from some of our writings, and there's this quote from Marcus Aurelius, it says, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. So again, I think I'm going to go through these really quick. Life is happening for you, not to you, just to remind yourself. And then keeping your spirits up, coming into as much as you can into that joyful, loving place. David said, I love the peacock background. It says of Jane ? I guess you can't see our names. It's Gretchen. Gretchen has the peacock background, and I love it too. It's so beautiful. Watch for the seed of good in everything that's happening. If things are happening to us for a reason, which they are, then there's the seed of good in whatever it is, regardless of what it looks like, because we're so fast to interpret things as good or bad. And that's part of the our mass consciousness thinking too, is that we have to evaluate everything as good or bad. So it's all the time. This is good. This is bad. This I don't like. This I like. This is black. This is white. Actually, it just is, and something good is happening. Focus on increasing your sense of aliveness, which is connecting with what it is the joy of manifesting our dreams and purpose that make us feel alive. So it is again, and it's all in the same place, in the heart. Beware of placing narrow definitions on what you want to create. What did you think of that, Gretchen, that idea of just starting with the state that you want, rather than I want to have this?
Right. I think, it's not a one-off kind of experience where you can only visit Orion once, or, you know what I mean? So we don't have to have all of that information now. And I think what you mentioned, what's just the next step? That's so free to not say, what's the whole plan right now,
Right. Yeah, because it's not there is no perfect plan.
Right.
And that's something, as a coach, coach and healer, a lot of people are hoping that we can give them the perfect plan. Right. Well, the perfect plan is take your next step.
Right. It's ever evolving. That's it, as we evolve, as opportunities present themselves. So it's about staying open to all of that as well,
Yeah.
So
right. Yeah. And get in the flow with the divine and allow synchronicity to guide you, allow life to guide you, life itself to guide you, because there are signs along the way too. And part of it is what's exciting now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the magic and the mystery,
Right. We do a lot with oracles here in the circle, which those of you who have been around us a lot know. And that's a good way to bring more synchronicity, synchronous understandings and guidance into your life, and can invite different beings through oracles. We have a lot of things that we do that promote that help us to expand what's possible for ourselves. Yeah, I feel radiant.
I feel very peaceful and calm. Yeah.
Right. And this is part of our goal. Our main goal in the circle is to be radiating love and light into the world. And wow, it's already 1 minute before the top of the hour. We're going to have to go fast. Just quickly sending that out. And as we do that, Gretchen, would you like to tell people how they can find out more about you and what you're doing?
Sure. Thank you so much, Jane. People can connect with me on my website, spiraljourney.net, and that has the most comprehensive list of all my services, as well as a lot of free things that you can download and engage in. I'm also on Facebook, Spiral Journey or Gretchen Comer, and as well as on Instagram too. So yeah, I love connecting with people. If you'd like to have any questions or want to reach out, please do.
Right. Good. Thank you. And for Awakenings Institute, the sponsor of the circle, we have a free resource kit for light workers, which you can access at we have a tiny URL because our URLs for our set are kind of long. tinyurl.com/spiritual-kit. And when you get to the website, you can go, there's a lot to explore there, which you're welcome to do. And we certainly also invite you to join us again in the circle. Thank you, David, for connecting. He says, I love radiance. I love radiance too. It does feel good. You can find out more about the circle at circleofloveandlight.org. And if you want to support the circle, if you're on Facebook, you can follow our page. You can share the video with your friends, which will help to spread the word, and invite your friends to join you in the circle. So those are some possibilities. The final thing we do is send love and light out to the future. You can fill your past with it too, your whole timeline, brighten the whole thing up. And then we just wish you a wonderful week.